Welcome to Sales Warrior War Room. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the April episode of Sales Warrior War Room. Got a really special guest coming to us here, all the way from, I'm just going to say it, Southlake, Texas. James Kewen, a very, very successful realtor here in the Dallas area. Welcome to Sales Warrior War Room.
Well, thank you, John. How are you today?
You know, a little peppy, maybe too much coffee.
I need more.
No worries, no worries. Coffee's for closers, James.
That's right.
You know, this is going to be kind of a fun episode just because I think it's every person's nightmare at some point when you're in business and when you're in sales in particular. And particularly when a lot of your compensation and most salespeople, most of their compensation, the important compensation is based on commission. And so you always got that, hanging over your head. I think it's really normal for people to deal with sales burnout. So for this episode, we're going to talk, of course, about like your super successful sales career, but we're going to talk about sales burnout. And I just want to mention, like, both James and I have known each other since I think the mid '90s, and James has over 30 years of sales experience. I have 30 years of sales experience. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're talking to people that are over 60 years of sales experience. So if we're not burned out, we know how to help you not be burned out. So James, when you think about like your sales career, talk about some ways that like you've managed burnout.
Well, I think, when you're early on in your career, sometimes you don't know how to handle it. And sometimes you'll turn to certain things, alcohol or, you can do all kinds of crazy things to think that you're handling the burnout. But I think because burnout doesn't just come from working long hours and, if you have a sales job with high sales goals and, that can really weigh down on your psyche and,
Right.
Trying to hit these goals every month, all the time. It never seems to stop. And that's kind of where you mentally can get to burnout. It's just, you're like, sales managers, it's like, well, what have you done for me lately? Right. You may have blown out your sales goal the month before, but man, that first day of the first month, the next month coming up, it doesn't matter anymore. Right. It's like, what are you going to do for me now? So,
right.
But understanding that burnout comes from lots of different places, right? You may have stuff going on at home. You may have kids and a wife and, or, a significant other, or family issues with parents, and all of that is, on you. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
not just work.
I mean, it's real. Like, the pressures are real, baby.
Life, right? Life can really burn you out. And I think the way that I have over these 30 years come to learn how to deal with burnout is I can feel it coming on, right? It may be on a particular day, it may be a particular situation that's come up, and you have to take care of number one, because if you fall apart, if you succumb to the pressure and of the burnout,
Right.
it can all just go away. I had a young gal that she'd been in the business So I had been in the business 20 years. So this was 10 years ago. She was in the business 5 years. She was getting successful. And she came to me and she said, I'm just so busy. I don't know that I can handle this. What do I do, James? How do you handle it? And I said, I had an experience in the first 5 years of my real estate career where I hit an incredible goal that I had set for myself. You always have those stretch goals.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had this stretch goal, and this was in 2006. So I had been in real estate just about 5 years,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I hit this goal. I hit this stretch goal. I've made it, and I took my foot off the gas.
Okay.
Okay, and the next year, my business, it didn't tank, thankfully, but I was way down
Okay.
on my business. So I'm like, what did I do wrong? I took my
Yeah.
foot off the gas. I lost my focus. I lost my concentration. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
um, I told this girl, this gal, this story, and said,
Yeah.
"Listen, you got to fight through it. Okay,
I
take
like
some,
it.
take a day, take an afternoon, go get a mani pedi. There we go.
Yeah, like a manicure for
Yeah,
your fingers
manicure,
and your feet.
pedicure. Go get a
Those are
massage.
painful, man, but okay.
I've not had a pedi, man, but a mani. I think you need to find ways that are, good for you and not detrimental to your health or, like drinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
So again, I just told her to, you got to fight through it, but you've got to find little things you can do to get some relief, you know, um, because if you take your foot off the gas, if you stop, it can hurt your business. So I said
Right.
I would not do that. Um, it's great and I think what she was thinking, she's feeling like, well, I've made it. Kind of the same thought I had. Well, I've made it.
Right.
And I
Right.
took
Sure.
my foot off the gas and my business went down a little bit for that next year. So I got a coach. A coach really helped me kind of get re-engaged and refocused.
Okay.
Um, and it was her suggestions of me to, hey, go on a long weekend or take a Saturday off. Real estate agents work Saturday and Sundays,
Yeah.
and then we work Monday through Friday as well. I mean, it seems like it's a 24/7 job
Right.
a
Right.
lot of times, and it is somewhat seasonality. So there are, you know, months of the year where we're just nonstop. And I shared that with her as well. I said, this can be seasonal. So you don't want to take your foot off the gas in like May, because then you're going to have a kind of a crappy summer if you do that. That's
Right.
a busy month, right? So I
Yeah.
said, you find the places in your business that that more than likely things are going to slow down a little bit. The holidays, the first of the year, everybody's sales, has some seasonality, I would think.
Yeah.
And maybe you plan, hey, I'm going to go on vacation. Hey, I'm going to take a break during these slower times and build those in. Or again, the long weekend.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
and I think as you get further into your career, you're able you kind of see, all right, this is the pattern of my career, and when the sales seem to ramp up and when they kind of
Yeah.
slow down a little bit, and then plan, really seriously plan a vacation. Don't wait. Oh, I'll go whenever I have a slow time. You know when the slow times are and
Right.
plan for that, and that's when you should take a break. So yeah, burnout is a real thing, and it comes from all different points, right? All different
Yeah. Yeah.
parts of your life.
Hey, I want to summarize that a little bit because you brought up some key things, and so for people that are listening, because James is talking about working with a fellow agent, and they're immediately experiencing some burnout, and and James also sounds like you experienced some burnout, as have I, and the thought is take a day off, And the other thought is plan a vacation. Always have something to look forward to. That's one of the ways that you manage burnout, is you always have something that you're looking forward to that has nothing at all to do with work. And focus on what you're looking forward to. And like James is saying, fight through the work to get to what you're looking forward to. Yeah, I think those are huge, huge points to make for folks. And two, like some of it, the burnout might be daily, and so like you got to take a break during the day. Like a lot of salespeople, me included, for years I worked through lunch, and I don't work through lunch ever now. Like I never work through lunch anymore, but I used to, because I was so hungry to make money, and I just saw lunch as just an impedance on my ability to talk to people and sell them stuff. And you got to take a break during your day, right? Like you can't just like beat yourself into submission every day for the US dollar.
You remember our sales managers used to bring in lunch and used to bring in dinner?
Ugh.
Why do you think they were doing that? They weren't.
Oh
They
no,
didn't
I know, I know,
leave.
I know,
They
I
wanted us
know.
to bang, 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 you know?
Well,
Work, work,
and,
work.
and that brings up a good point. So James and I, years ago, we used to work for a really well-known software company. We'll just say it, McAfee Software. It was the very beginning of the explosion. We were right there at the explosion of antivirus software, and they just hired, sales guns like us to come in, work the phones. We were young, maybe dumb, and and they had us working through lunch. They had us staying late, um, but they understood though sales burnout too. Like if we look back to our sales manager, when we had a blowout quarter, which was every quarter, he always planned something fun for us to do,
Yes.
like
Yep.
something for us to look forward to.
True.
That was something huge. The other thing he did was the people that hit their quota, as soon as you hit your quota, you were told to go home. Remember that?
Yep.
I mean, that was pretty cool. Like hit your quota, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, get off the phone, get out of here. We don't want to see you again. It puts pressure on the people that are still working that haven't hit their quota, and makes you feel good because you did hit your quota. And then you come back the next day and they're paying you at a higher commission rate.
Yep.
I mean, that was like that guy, we'll say his name, David Prater. He knew how to help people with sales burnout. But these are good things we're coming up with. One thing I was going to mention, because I know you do a lot of this, but like you do a lot of community involvement, don't you? I mean, like James Kuhn is not just a real estate agent. We should also mention, before we mention your community involvement, I want to give people an idea like how successful of a real estate agent you are. How many houses did you sell last year, James?
37.
You sold 37 houses. Do you know what the statistics are in the United States for 2024?
I do.
What did the average agent sell?
Well, so there are
Mm-hmm.
about 1.3 million agents across the country.
Okay.
In 2024, 74% of that 1.3 million, 1.4 did not sell one property.
74% were like no commission.
Zero.
Yeah. They're like a professional unemployed person.
Yes. Paying not to work, because you got to pay your dues. There's bills as a realtor.
Wow.
If you did zero business, you still have to pay. There's office fees. There's your MLS board dues.
Yeah.
Pay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not.
Man.
This is not a business to be in and not have any business, right?
Yeah.
So, 74% did not sell a home last year.
Man, dude, congratulations.
That blew me away when I heard that. I'm like, unbelievable. And I sold 37.
Yeah.
So here's some
go
other
ahead.
facts. So I was a manager a few years ago, and I had access to this software program so in DFW airport, or if Dallas Fort Worth, right, there are 37,000 real estate agents. And this software program ranked every single one of those agents based on the number of transactions that they did. So it
Right.
started at 0 and went down to, maybe 100 or so houses.
Yes.
So of 37,000, to get to the first agent that sold one home, you went through 10,000 realtors. 10,000 realtors sold 0 in DFW that year that I looked at this report.
Wow.
And
Wow.
to get to two homes, it was another 10,000. So 20,000 agents sold between 0 and 2 homes.
Wow.
Okay. To
Wow.
get to five homes, okay, it was another 5,000. So now we're talking 15,000 realtors sold 5 homes or less. So that's almost half of all the agents in the DFW metro area, right?
Wow, James. That's amazing, man.
To get
Wow.
to 12, so one a month,
Mhm.
it was another 5,000 agents. So now we're talking 25,000 agents sold 12 or less. Okay. So now we've got 12,000 agents that sold 12 or more homes out of 37,000. To
W-
get to
Yeah.
20 to get to 2 a month, so 24
Uh-huh.
houses,
Yeah.
it took another 5,000. So now we're talking 7,000 agents sold 2 homes a month or more. So at 37, I sold 3 homes a month last year.
That's
So
fantastic.
you really start narrowing down who's doing the business, right? And a lot of people, oh, I say I sold 37 homes. Well,
Mhm.
doesn't everybody? They don't know. They have no idea what the scale is.
I
So,
was impressed when you told me you sold over 30 homes a year. I was like, man. So are you like, would you be considered like top 5% in the DFW area? Would that be correct?
well, here's a better stat for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Real Trends, which is a real estate industry
Mhm.
organization, they track sales of every real estate agent across the country. Okay.
Okay.
And they create a list of the top 1,000 realtors across the United States 2 years ago. And ever since then, I have been in the top 1,000 realtors across the country for the last 3 years.
Wow.
So so again, 1.3, 1.4 million real estate agents. I'm in the top 1,000 list.
Yeah.
Where I
That's
rank,
fantastic.
I don't have that number, but I'm in the top 1,000.
Dude, congratulations. Hey,
Thank you.
let's talk about your community development because, or not community development, community involvement.
Sure.
Because, yeah, let's talk about what the judge wants you to do to work off your hours. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, let's talk about, your participation in the community because you're a very successful real estate agent, but you're also like out in the community. Tell everybody, like, I'm sure that's a way that you manage sales stress and burnout, way you stay inspired. I like to stop talking about burnout. Burnout's like what I put on the internet to get people interested in this podcast. But I like to talk about people are either inspired or uninspired. So talk about your community development, or I'm sorry, community involvement. Um, just so people can get a feel for that, like you're a lot more than just a super successful real estate agent.
Yeah, when I had a sales job and I was traveling across the country, I wasn't home, right?
Right.
So and our family was just getting started, and we had a little baby boy, our first son,
Yeah.
and my wife and I decided that maybe one of us being away all the time was not such a great thing. That's not you know, not everybody has these options, right? She
Right.
worked, I worked, but I was gone Monday through Friday for, all the time.
Right.
And we sat down and this isn't really the family environment that we want for us as a couple and for our children.
Sure.
So that's how I decided to get into real estate, because it allowed me to be home every night and be home
Hmm.
or be around the community.
Yeah.
So that mind shift from a corporate job to a service industry job, servicing the local market, the local town that I'm in, kind of led me into getting involved in the community and giving back to the community, because the community was giving me so much,
Sure.
right? By calling me or asking me, or to come help them solve a problem. Solve the problem was selling their home or buying a home, right? So I felt like I should reciprocate and give back to the community. And how can I do that, right?
Yeah.
Certainly you can donate money, or you can support this group or that group, and I did those things, supporting the school. Um, so I created a dad's club at the elementary school. So every
You created the dad's club at the
Yes, I
elementary
was the
school.
president of the dad's club at Carroll Elementary for
Okay.
a few years when um, my oldest son was in elementary school.
Wow, that's
And
impressive. So you
um,
created that, James? There wasn't a dad's club and you just created it from scratch?
yep, I got a couple dads were talking about, hey, we should, we should get more involved into the school, because, as I said, I was traveling before. In the
Hmm.
community that I'm in, there's a lot of dads or a lot of parents that travel for work, right? We're close to the airport, so boom, they get on a
Sure.
plane and they go to Chicago or LA or wherever they go.
Makes sense.
So so what we did is one Friday a month during the school year. Um, so every month, one Friday. I don't know if it was the first Friday or the middle Friday, whatever it was. We had a Friday morning that we would bring. It was donuts with dads, and we'd have donuts and we'd have coffee from, so there was a core group of dads that were kind of working this together. I was
Yeah.
the president and we had a vice president, and somebody would get donuts, somebody would bring in coffee, and then all the dads, if they could, we put flyers in the Wednesday folders. I don't know if you guys did Wednesday folders, where every Wednesday the kid brought home a folder and it had like what was going on for the next week, right? So we'd put a
Oh
flyer.
God, yes, I remember those. Yeah, I remember those.
So they would put that flyer in there, and then it would, let the moms or the dads know that there was a, um, you know, dads and donuts was going to be happening, next Friday or whatever. So they'd
Okay.
all come in, and we'd have uh, coffee, we'd have donuts, and we talk just about being a dad and or
Yeah.
being a parent. And then they would, you know, we weren't there very long, maybe 30 minutes, hanging out in the cafeteria, and then it was a great way for the dads to connect. And there's a lot of moms that were working from home or staying, stay at home mom, if you will,
Yeah.
and they seem to have a lot of community amongst themselves, but as dads we didn't, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone was going off to work, and they couldn't come to Johnny playing or having a part in a play up on the stage in the middle of the day, right? They had a hard time making those things. So this was a
I
way for the
imagine so.
dads.
Yeah, they're in New York or Chicago on business. Yeah.
Yeah. So started that. Then I became a baseball coach. Um,
Nice.
so little league coach. Did that for 8 seasons.
Good
Um,
for you, dude.
met a lot of parents, and again, another way to give back to the community. um, I got on the board of my HOA. So
Okay.
the subdivision that I live in has a homeowners association. I got on the board, I served that for 5 years, and then I moved into the president of the HOA. I did that for 10 years.
Wow.
And I was then my son my sons got into um, Cub Scouts. So I was a den leader, and then I became a pack leader. And then when my oldest moved over to Boy Scouts, I became an assistant scout leader and did that until he finished. He got his Eagle Scout. And took my other boys to their pack meetings and eventually into Boy Scouts. Let's see, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and there's a lot of functions that the chamber does in our town. And then I reached out to the mayor during COVID, and the mayor of our town, and I said, "Hey, what can I do to help out the community? Because we're all, suffering. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know where this is going."
Oh, during COVID you did?
Yeah. So the mayor
Wow, that's admirable.
put together a economic improvement council, and it was 10 community business owners that would meet on Zoom, and we would talk about ways that, as a city, how can we help the local employers, the local businesses,
Like the restaurants and the convenience stores.
absolutely, the retail stores and the restaurants, how are they going to survive, right? And so with the help of the mayor and the city and this group of people, these business owners, we came up with a lot of things. They reduced some of the restrictions for doing business in this town.
Yeah.
We allowed them, we would open up sidewalks to have outdoor sales for these retail stores, because normally you couldn't do that. You couldn't put your racks of clothes out on a sidewalk. They just didn't want that,
Right.
So we allowed that. And then restaurants, same thing. You don't want to be inside of a restaurant because the air is being recirculated. So we allowed the restaurants to take over sidewalks, put tables out there so people could sit outside and be served, and to bring, money into
That
these.
was smart.
So there was a lot of things that we worked on, and we met once a week for several months to come up with creative, ways and ideas that these businesses could survive. And I think the last thing that we worked on was, we had a checklist that we put together that if these businesses took the time to make sure that, again, this is COVID, the employees wore masks, the employees washed their hands, there was hand sanitizer there, they did certain types of air circulation there, they had doors open or whatnot. So there were this checklist of all these things that if the business did, then we created a sticker that said approved, city approved, COVID qualified, or whatever it was, where they met all this criteria. And so that way it was a way to kind of promote to the community, hey, these businesses are running based on CDC requirements, or, the government requirements of how to run a business and keep the customers safe.
Yeah.
So it was South Lake Safe or something like that is what we created. So all of that was, I felt, giving back to the community, who gave me so much. And I think if you have a business, if you have a business where you're able to do that, I think it really helps, again, with burnout, or with feeling good about, you're involved in the community of where you live and giving back.
Doesn't it make you feel, good about yourself? Like, you don't just think of yourself as a real estate agent. You think of yourself first as James Kuhn, the person that happens to sell real estate, versus James Kuhn, the real estate agent. But you think more of yourself as a person, and being a real estate agent is your job. But as a person, you're going out and doing all these great things for the community. It makes you feel good as a person. Would that be correct?
Yes, but there's a deeper point here. Let me make
Go ahead.
So when I was thinking about citizenship and raising my children to be good citizens of a community, right? Well, if I can talk that all I want, but you got to walk the talk, or talk the walk.
Yeah, you do.
So I had to show my kids, hey, you need to be a good citizen of the community. You need to give back. You need to be involved. Well, I could say that all day long, but if I don't do it, they have nothing to look up to. So I created that in myself so that my kids had something to look up to say, hey, my dad did this, my dad did that. I'm going to do the same thing. And they got involved in the community as well. You know, we joined Sister Cities of Southlake as a family.
Yep.
And, so our kids had the capabilities of being youth ambassadors for our city, and they went over and stayed at host family homes in Tomei, Japan, and also we had a city in China that we were sister cities with, and
Okay.
our kids have gone to those and been hosted in those countries,
Okay.
and so that was a way for them to give back to the community. They got community hours. Part of this community also had a yearly celebration, and where they had to donate their time. They also had a couple of streets in town where they would pick up trash a couple times a year. So
Yeah.
they were too, you know, uh, getting involved in community. In fact, the mayor recognized Southlake Sister Cities youth ambassadors
Mm-hmm.
with, a certificate every year for the community involvement and the hours that they've donated to the city to, be involved. So you have to set an example for, at least in my case, I wanted to set an example for my children so that they could see what it is to be a good citizen of this community, the state, and this country.
Absolutely, James. I can absolutely relate. You might not know a little bit about my community involvement, but I was the family director of our Knights of Columbus chapter in the Plano area for I think 2 or 3 years, and then I was a Boy Scout leader for 7 years, and I currently serve on a Operation Rock the Troops, which is a charity in the local Dallas area. Um, and we help veterans with PTSD. So, like you, man, I 100% believe in giving back to the community, and we're keying in on something James and I this morning on this episode that's extremely important for you folks out there that are struggling with maybe low desire to do your job. Uh, Give outside yourself and go out and see where in your community that you can benefit others. And at least for me, my community development has helped me with more business in the different businesses that I've been involved in over the years. But I never did it for the business context. I always did it to give back, and I think that would be the same for you, right, James?
Oh yeah, I mean there were scout families that would ask me to help them. There
Yeah,
were homeowners in my subdivision that would ask me to help them. There were families that were on the baseball teams that I coached that would
yeah,
uh, ask me to help them. So again, I did it to give back to the community that was giving me so much, but in return, the community gave me more.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's biblical, right? Like you give and it comes back to you like tenfold.
Correct.
Like the same things kind of happened to me too. Like during my life, it's a wonderful situation. Hey, I want to segue a little bit because I think one of the best ways to manage low desire or lack of desire in your business, that some people might term burnout, is getting that new customer. Getting that shiny new customer coming through the door. It's something that's exciting. I know when my wife asked me, John, how was your day? And I got that shiny new customer. I just want to hold it up and be like, look at this shiny new customer that I got. Like, it's exciting. But what I want to talk about is how you get that shiny new customer. I'm going to mention how I do it in like a cold call effort that I do, but I want to mention how you do it, because I know like one of the best ways to stay involved in your business is to create more business, and in bringing in that shiny new customer. I mean, your business is growing when you're bringing in those referrals and those shiny new customers. But talk about like how you develop a new customer, like, from scratch.
Yeah. So, being in the business that I am in the service industry, it's the best business that I can get is referral.
Yeah.
So I really lean into my past clients. I love on them, and
Now, when you say that though, like, can you give us like specifics on how you love on them? Because I know like you have a process.
I do. So, and it's an always evolving process.
I bet.
I've joined an organization shortly right after I started this, and they have a process. They put together a process, and the company name is Brian Buffini and Associates, and they are a coaching service for real estate agents and financial advisors and
I see.
lenders. And their system is, staying in touch with your past clients, sending them an item of value every month, doing pop buys.
Do you have that automated? Like when you send them an item of value, do you like automate it and say, hey, I think people that have bought homes from me in the past might benefit from knowing about this? Is it like an email automation?
There's email and also letters.
Okay.
And personal cards, handwritten cards is definitely part of their whole system, right?
Okay.
So, hey, just thinking about you. Hope you're having a great day, James. Right? It doesn't have to be a novel that you're sending these people, just to let them know that you're thinking of them.
What's the name of the organization, James? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know like listenership will want to know this stuff. What's the name of the organization you belong to?
Yeah, it's Buffini and Associates. BUFFINI.com.
Okay, people can look that up then. All right,
yeah,
great.
They're out of Carlsbad, California. They have coaches, and but you can also just sign up for this program. And they've gotten to the place now that they're automating, so they'll mail the letters for you.
Right.
And they have a whole CRM that you can plug into. It can track all your business. It's a great thing, and I've been with them for over 20 years.
Oh wow!
And so they send these letters out to my clients, and I'll tell you a quick story.
Go ahead.
First year in the business, and the title company came in to do a little seminar for all the agents in my office that I was with at the time. And they were promoting Buffini. Buffini was coming to town to do a Turning Point retreat, but he's coming to Austin. Wasn't coming to Dallas. So they said, hey, in 6 weeks, this guy's going to be here. Brian Buffini's his name. And, we're offering $100 off the ticket. Right there, doing some special program. And they talked about all the benefits of his program. And he's a 20-year veteran of real estate, and he sold all these homes in San Diego, and on and on and on. And he's created a business where you can build a business by referral, right? Not buying leads, not buying, all this kind of stuff, not doing a ton of marketing,
right?
But build your business by referral. And so I went to this Turning Point retreat, signed up. I get back home. I'm really excited about it. I tell my wife, and she's like, this is your first year in the business. You don't have money to buy this program, because it wasn't overly expensive, but it wasn't cheap, right? A couple grand.
Was that $2,000 a month or $2,000 a year?
No. I think there was an initial fee, and then there was a monthly fee of around $500 or something like that to have a coach. And she's like, where are you going to get the money for this? And I said, well, I think it's going to produce the money to pay for itself. And she goes, you got 90 days. So I had a lot of pressure on me to perform, right? So I dug into that program and really followed everything. And I think if you ask her today, 20 years later, she'll probably say that this is the best thing that I've done for my business. Because
This is awesome because you're hitting on something, and I want people to make sure they're going to get this out of it. So, helping you stay engaged with your business, James brings up a great point. Having a coaching program, like how do you keep from getting burned out? New, fresh ideas and systems that are already out there that are successful. How do you get those systems? Align yourself with a professional coach,
Yes.
which is just so key, man. Like that's a gold nugget for people today. Like go on vacation, take some breaks, get involved in your community, and get yourself into some kind of coaching program that has a proven business system. I mean, these are just key items to keep engaged and keep at a desirable level to do your business. That's great.
You know, I think that we all think that we know all the ways, or we think we know all the ways to be successful, right? But we get pigeonholed sometimes. We go down a rabbit hole trying to, make a point or just try to do a business a certain way. But the coach is, stepped back. He's looking back, or she's looking back at what you're doing and go,
Yep.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You're focusing too much in one direction. You need to broaden your horizons. You need to think of these other opportunities that you might have that you may not even know about.
Yep.
Right. So a coach can step back and look at what you're doing, observe, and give, help you understand how it could be beneficial to go in a different direction or to try a different thing. And they're an accountability partner, right? You say you want to make X number of calls a day, you want to hit certain sales goals. Well, have an accountability partner. You have the stress of, well, I got to hit a number every month. I got to bring in X dollars every month to pay for the bills. That's an accountability partner. Your spouse is an accountability partner, right? But the spouse is coming, hey, where's the money? Where's the paycheck? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's pressure. The coach is hopefully not pressure, on your side, building you up, giving you the confidence, giving you the structure, giving you the plan and the ideas of things to do to make yourself successful. And these plans, these ideas, these processes have been worked on thousands of people, right? So if you plug into them and you work them, then you should be successful if you follow the recipe, if you follow the process, right?
I couldn't agree more.
And like I said, here we are. I've been with him for 20 years or more. And I think my wife would say that was probably one of the most successful things I've done for the business.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the process. It's not Buffini necessarily. They were the catalyst.
Right.
It was the continual process of engaging with your clients, staying top of mind with them, acknowledging their existence, acknowledging them, thanking them for the business, and then loving on them by giving them the attention that they deserve, right? If you do a transaction, don't be transactional. Be engaged. Be involved. Because if you're transactional and you never talk to them again, right? People need business. People know people that may need your same services.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to talk about how I get a shiny new customer, just to parlay right off how you get a shiny new customer. So how I do it, it's my cold call outreach system. Also referred to it as a gold call outreach system because I don't gold call. Yeah. Because I always like to put a positive spin on negative things, and cold calling sounds so scary. So I call it gold calling because you're looking for the pot of gold. But it's a 3-step process. It's very detailed. The first step starts with the professional email. In the professional email, it's going to address the person. It's going to have a free offer, some kind of analytical free offer for the business that you're in. I want to do XYZ for you for free. In that email, it's also going to have a credibility statement about you as a person and your company. So it's going to give credibility, like how many years you've been in business, how many years your company's been in business, maybe cumulatively how many years you and your partners have been in business. And then it's going to have a call to action and a psychological hook. The call to action is to respond to this either by voicemail or email back to me, and we'll set up a good time to talk. So that's your call to action. And the psychological hook is going to be something specific to this individual. Like, I have a growing number of clients in Irving, Texas, or I have a growing number of customers in Southlake, Texas. Some kind of psychological hook so they know it's not just a hand email that you put some thought into it. It is kind of a template, but there is some thought put into it. And in the beginning, the heading of the email, if there's anything specific about the particular prospect that I can put in there that doesn't sound too crazy, might put something in there about them as well. So something specific to them, and then a psychological hook at the end. So that's email, and that's day one. Call it a Monday, the email is sent. Day two, nothing is done. Day three, a phone call is made. 90% of the time, you don't speak to the individual that you sent the cold outreach to. So on this phone call, you basically reiterate that you did send them an email, and you go through the same process. I almost just like read the email kind of emotionally back to them. Tends to key them to look at the email, because most emails, they figure it's a spam email anyway, but it gets them to read my email. And then you give a call to action exactly how the email. Either respond to the email that I sent you, or call me. And this is a professional process. So I'll even say that when I leave a voicemail, I sent you a professional email. I want people to know that, like, I'm a professional. So then this would be day 4. You don't contact them again. And many times you don't contact them again on day 5. Now, here's the magic. The magic is the follow-up. And the follow-up is another email. And that email you send in the subject line says second attempt. It says the subject that you sent them on the initial email. And then in the body of the email, it'll be the exact same email that you sent on that very first attempt. But in that email, it'll say the date at which you sent it, and it'll say copy of email that was sent on April the 2nd. And in this system that I came up with, James, quadrupled my business. And we won't talk about like what business I'm in per se, but it quadrupled my business, not only in total volume, but it quadrupled like the number of referrals that I get and everything. And what's so wild about this, and this is why more people need to adopt it, is like prospects that I've never spoken to have complimented me on my process. They're like, they'll leave me voicemails and they'll say, I've never been approached like this before to do business with somebody I've never done business with, and I really appreciate your process. How many people in some kind of sales gig get complimented on their cold outreach? You know, that's how you know that's how you know it's gold. But I want to say that because like my course I'm doing right now, one of the main things I'm promoting is my cold outreach system. So I wanted to like put it in here. And like, if anything gets me excited and keeps me engaged in my gig is that shiny new customer. And you get a lot of shiny new customers when you got a proven system for cold outreach. You obviously have a proven system for referrals and people thinking of you for more real estate, because you're constantly loving on them, you're constantly staying in front of them, and you got a proven system that you paid for, that you've had in place for over 20 years. I mean, man, I can't believe more real estate agents aren't doing that. It's like, it just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and who knows? You know, they think when you first start out, you know, you're holding on to all your money as much as you can, right?
I understand. Yeah.
The next step's coming. So you definitely have to. It's a leap of faith, right? And to do something like this and to spend that money, but it's proven. I've used it, and I've been successful at using it. But you know, people are bringing all kinds of new opportunities to me and you really have to filter them out. Is this appropriate? Is this the right thing is this just some smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah.
Like some software we used to sell. But
Yeah, there you go. Vaporware, right?
yeah. So you have to look at your business and filter it on this new process that they're going to do. But for me, selling by referral or doing business by referral, I couldn't think of a better thing to do, because if I do a good job for somebody and they refer me to their friend or family member, what better way to thank me for helping them by them sending me their family member or a friend, you know?
And let me ask this. I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. So on the bottom of emails that you send to current clients, does it say something on there about referral?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I would be happy to help you with any referrals you might have in my way. Yeah.
I have exactly the same thing on my email, and you get so many referrals just based and like you don't have to ask for referrals. Every single time they ask you a question and you send them an email, you're asking them for another referral. Like they're asking you to ask, like there's no pressure from anybody. They just see it right there every time they look at your your sincerely John Sansoni. Every time they look at that, they're looking at, oh, and by the way, it's greatness.
Yep. Yeah, it's
like
just it's a constant, process of dropping the hints, right?
I do the same thing that you do with sending emails on a monthly basis, and I think I've done that for like 5 years, and I get less inbound phone calls, people asking me questions, which is, because if they don't need anything, that's beautiful. But they feel like we're connected, and they feel like every single month we've talked, even though we really haven't talked. And when they do need me and they call me, it's like an old high school friend that you've kept in touch with. Like give them a big hug and, man, so great to see you. Glad we're Facebook friends. Looks like your family's doing well. You don't have to like ask them a bunch of questions because you see their posts every single day on Facebook. So you feel like you're engaged in their life already. And it's the same thing with your email system that you send, that you love on the people that you've already sold to. And it's a gift that keeps on giving, like you're saying. Right. And the numbers speak for themselves, man. I knew you were successful. I just had no idea. I also didn't realize how many unsuccessful real estate agents there are in the DFW area. That's kind of sad.
Well, not only the DFW area, but the entire country.
Oh, I believe it.
If you take 1.3 million, right? Let's add that up real quick.
So how many, James, are just in DFW though? Agents.
So there's about 37,000 real estate agents in DFW. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you look back at this 74% that didn't sell a home last year,
right?
Out of 1.3 million, 962,000 realtors did not sell a house last year.
Wow. Yeah.
That's almost a million realtors did not sell a house last year.
That's tough. That's tough. And wow. So having a coach, managing burnout, and having a proven business system,
giving back to the community,
and getting involved in the community, all these things are just so darn key. And taking little psychological breaks and vacations, and having something to look forward to. It's as simple as that, folks. Like, have something to look forward to. You might do this, James. Do you like when you have a fun weekend, do you ever email yourself with like something that you really enjoyed over the weekend so you can revisit it during the week when you're working? Do you ever do that?
So one of the things I do is I started a program called Miracle Mornings. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before.
Oh yeah, I know. You were telling me about that when you and I got together for a little wine event about a few weeks ago. Yeah.
There's six things that you do One of them is journaling.
Okay.
And so in the journaling part is writing events that you enjoyed, right? So that you can go back to your journal and reread those, and almost as if they were affirmations.
Yeah.
Right? So you write in your journal, like you said, my wife and I went to Pilot Point, Texas yesterday, strawberry picking.
Okay.
That's a neat thing to do. You don't do that all the time.
Right.
So to look back at that journal and read that you did that, and what a beautiful day it was yesterday, and the temperature, low 80s, and it was fairly dry. It wasn't too humid. Blue skies and a light breeze, and bringing yourself back to those moments by descriptions of journaling takes you away from whatever you're dealing with, right? The pressure of the day that you're dealing with. And if you can
really like it, James,
create these affirmations to just build yourself back up and relive those good times that you had, that helps you get to get past this and to move forward. Is because, you know what, I want to create another one of those days.
Yeah.
When can we do that again? Or when can we do something like it?
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. I do basically the same thing. On Sunday night, I'll email myself to my office email, not my personal email. And in that email, I'll put either 3 or 5 wonderful things that happened to me over the weekend. Because, we get the Sunday blues. Like, oh, man, Monday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like we get the Sunday blues. And so I do that. And one, that gets me tracking, not that I'm working tomorrow. It gets me tracking with, man, I really need to relish in these amazing times that I had, like over the weekend. And then I use that Monday through Friday, like as I'm going through my miracle morning. Part of my morning is looking at my weekend and figuring out what I'm going to do on Wednesday night. Like I'm already like pushing forward, having something to look forward to. And then once I get through Wednesday night, I'm pushing forward to Friday and having something to look forward to. So don't live in the past that long, but that's how you, like, the human condition is such that we got to have something we're looking forward to. If we don't, we're depressed. Like we're constantly goal seeking. And if you don't, like that's so important. Like you got your goals, your business goals, but you got to have your personal goals. And your personal goals have to be just as exciting as any business goal anybody could give you, or you'd give yourself, or you're not going to be like enthused about life. Because like it's, that's why people go around saying they're bored, they don't know what to do with their life, blah, 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 because they haven't written any goals and they're not relishing in the stuff that they're not like, they're not enjoying the magical moments as the magical moments are occurring. They're not creating more magical moments. And so things are blasé.
Yeah, I mean, talking about this, one of the things you can do during the week, right? Scheduling a vacation, if it's too far out, it's almost like that's so far away, right? Or if it's a month or two away.
Yeah, I fly out on the 21st, so I already got one schedule, and I'm going to Europe at the end.
Ready to go.
And I'm going to Europe at the end of the year here, but yeah, man, you got to have, like, if I don't have something on the calendar like that, or concert tickets that I'm looking forward to, it's not working for me, man. I got to get that going.
Yeah, so scheduling a vacation, but again,
yeah.
Well, what I was trying to make the point about was having things during the week to look forward to, like a lunch with an old friend.
Yeah.
Right. I'll reach out or go into dinner with some friends.
Yeah.
Those things you can do during the week to give yourself something to look forward to, right? Or I'm going to go see my mom, or I'm going to, do these little things during the week to kind of get you through, something to look forward to, so that, hey, when I get off work today, I'm going here. We're going to go bowling, or, whatever it might be. So having those things in your life every week gives you something to look forward to at the end of the workday or in the middle of the workday, and then doing things on the weekend with your family, your spouse, or your kids. That's another way to look forward to getting through the week, and now I get to celebrate all my efforts that I did during the week and all my goals that I met during the week, and celebrate those on the weekend. Don't wait, right?
Yep.
The vacation's the big celebration, right? It's the big, hey, we're going to go here. We're going to have a great time. We're going to celebrate all the successes I had for the year or for the last several months. But you can do that during the week as well, right? Going to lunch with a friend, going to dinner with a couple, or going out.
Agreed. I typically read books too. Like I always have a book that I'm looking forward to, like reading another chapter, and that's kind of how I keep myself like non-burned out. Hey, we need to wrap up this episode. This has been a blast, man. I knew it was going to be a good one. I'm going to go and have you promote anything you want to promote, even if it's just, your business. And then after you do that, I'm going to promote like what I'm promoting right now. And then we'll say goodbye to everybody in podcast land.
Okay. So yes, I'm James Kewen. I'm with I have a team of real estate agents and a full suite of services for real estate. So our company, our group is called the Kewen Group, and we help our clients and our friends and our family members buy and sell real estate. We offer property management or rental assistance if you have a property that you need to get rented out. I also do some commercial real estate. So really the full gamut of real estate services. Call in the Kewen Group. We'll be glad to help you. And this is my 24th year here in DFW as a full-time real estate agent. And
man, James, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and promote what I do.
I am John the Sales Warrior Sansoni. I've been professionally selling successfully for 34 years. What can I teach you? How to prospect, present, follow up, and most importantly, how to close. I have a 3-day masterclass that includes inspiration, motivation, and the mental tools to succeed in business and sales. My course includes worksheets, audio, video, and can be taken in 30 action blocks. Also included, how to have greater confidence. My course should be $400. If you get it today, $29.95. And included my book for free. Once purchased, you'll get free monthly inspiration from me. Just go to saleswarriorinspire.com and order yours today. That's it. Back to the show.
John, as long as we've known each other, going on 30 years now, for what you're offering your clients at $29 for, a sales course is incredible. It's what a value that is to, the folks that are looking for ways to grow their business, and what a great thing to offer them. I applaud you. Good job.
Man, thanks, James. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful having you on. And James, great having you on, dude. I knew you were successful, but like you giving us like the blueprint of what you've done to be so successful in your business area with so many people out there that need what you know, and so many people out there that unfortunately, like you were saying, last year didn't even sell one house. I mean, it's just amazing what we've been able to share today, and just honor having you on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it, John. Thanks so much for the invite and the conversation that we've had for the last hour now. And it's gone by. It's been great.
Awesome.
Hopefully we're bringing a lot of great ideas to people to get through, their career and get engaged in the community and get involved and participate in life and participate in your sales career. Because yes, we all get burned out from time to time, but you got to fight through it. And because on the other side is where the gold is.
I like it, man. You and I are so aligned, because I talk about gold calling, and in my sales training is called Sales Warrior. So like I say that like on every single post I do on Facebook is Warrior On, fight through it.
Do you, author who wrote Think and Grow Rich?
Napoleon Hill.
Yes. So in the first chapter, he talks about a guy that was digging for gold, and he was 3 feet away. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I just read that book like last summer.
That's the problem, is we give up. We get stressed out, we get burnt out, and we stop, right? And
I
that
love it,
guy,
James.
he was 3 feet away from a gold mine.
Yeah.
Gold mine. And he gave up, and he kicked himself in the rear end for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That's, you got to keep that in your head, that 3 feet he was away. If he would have just kept digging.
Exactly. And here's something to parlay off that. So I'm sure you're familiar with H.L. Hunt and the Hunt family, super famous, wealthy family in the Dallas area. So I might not have this specifically. People might need to fact check me on this. But H.L. Hunt sat down with some dude and basically talked him out of his oil well for like, I think it was like $1,500. It was a crazy amount of money that he bought his oil well from this guy. And that particular oil well that he bought from this guy, because the guy was frustrated, wasn't going to continue to look for oil, made H.L. Hunt and the Hunt family the wealthiest family in the DFW area, and probably one of the wealthiest families in the United States. So it just goes to show you got to know what you can't quit.
Don't quit.
Yeah, don't quit.
I have a plaque. Never, 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 never give up.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, we're going to sign off for this episode. So this is John the Sales Warrior and James Kewen of the Kewen Group from Sales Warrior War Room saying cheers, everybody. James, you want to say goodbye?
Absolutely. Goodbye.